Welcome back, everybody, to the live stream here at Silverstone. This time we are here for the British Grand Prix for the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, and we're here for the qualifying session once again. I'm JW97, and I'm joined yet again by Rahul Patel.
Hello, everyone.
So, obviously, if you missed out in the practice session just earlier on, we had Joseph Willows top the session ahead of the two Mercedes of Amar Carr and Franco Lopez. Of course, we had Rahul Patel in the car for Red Bull, given that it is the British Grand Prix, and of course Rahul being British. But of course, Franco Gamba is back in the car and will obviously take part in this qualifying session. But as you can see, we've got a dry qualifying session. Although, I did look just there, there is a few, I don't know if you noticed this, there is a tiny bit of rain there in the plus 60. Now, whether that will be there by the time we get to Q3,
that's like fucking 1% chance of rain in the graphic. Like
Yes.
the line cannot get. I don't think the line can be any lower than that without it actually not existing. Like I didn't even see it at first.
Yeah, but I guess we won't be having any rain for this.
Well,
anyway.
That's 1% chance of rain for Q2 and Q3, just for the sake of it.
Just a low chance. It is a low chance, but that's that really. So anyway, with that out of the way, let's get on with Q1, shall we? Always love a good joke. So yeah, that's that really. So anyway, we're getting set now for the qualifying session. So, as per usual, guys, leave your predictions on who you think will be knocked out in the first session, who the bottom six will be. And we will get this session underway. Hopefully, when we get to Q2 and Q3, Yuri doesn't make that same blunder that he made last week, where he put out the wrong representative. But anyway, we're now here in the garages, and we are now in the garages as Martinez is getting ready to go. In fact, all 22 cars will be ready to get out as well, because they all come out at the same time for the first laps. But then, just like in GP2, the odd one gets left behind, because that's how Grand Prix 4 works for some reason. But anyway, as the 18-minute session has got underway, we're just waiting for some activity. We've got some in the form of Paulino Tomaselli, who's going to be the first to come out on the track for McLaren, of course. Now, Paulino, of course, retired last time out at Austria. Well, he was classified in 20th, but another set of points for Paulino went down the toilet as a result of his engine catching fire. And as a result, McLaren didn't score any points either, because De Rosa only managed to finish in 12th after quite a bad strategy on McLaren's end. McLaren will be hoping to put that race behind them and hope to pick up some good points here at their home race at Silverstone. As Tomaselli now then out on track as he makes his way down the Wellington Straight. As a few other cars now start to get themselves now out onto the racetrack as they all prepare for their first flying laps of Q1. So just looking at some of the predictions that you guys have left. Dennis says both Haas, both Williams and both Manners. Franco Gamba says both Manners, both Williams, a Haas and a Racing Point. That's a very bold prediction there from Franco, to have a Racing Point in the drop zone there. But we'll have to wait and see, of course, because sometimes the Haas, as we've seen, like in real life, the Haas seems to be very good in qualifying trim, but doesn't appear to deliver it in the races too much. I mean, last time out they did score points with Jared Fosbury, albeit via another time penalty. The two races that Fosbury has scored points, he's ended up getting a time penalty for, and ironically dropping to 9th. So, yeah.
Definition of Fosbury error.
So, if he ever gets any points in the next few races, he'll be hoping that a time penalty doesn't affect it this time by. But we'll have to wait and see, of course, as he looks to perform in front of his home crowd. But anyway, Tomaselli now then comes down onto the pit straight and will start his lap now then, as he'll make his way towards the first two corners, which are, of course, Abbey. Of course, the frame rate does tend to dip a little bit down that straight, because the wing, that pit lane, the wing, the building there, takes up quite a bit of space on Grand Prix 4, which is why it slows down quite a bit, but it doesn't affect it too much, that's for sure. It's not a major problem. But anyway, Tomaselli now then comes around the left-handed adder as he makes his way down towards the Wellington Straight, and let's see what his first sector time is going to be as he approaches the first sector point now. It is a 25.658 for Tomaselli in the first sector. Through Brooklands he goes, around Luffield, where most of the fans are hanging out, and you usually get hear the crowd very well through there in real life, that's for sure. We did hear them in real life as well, especially during the collision that happened there in real life 2 weeks ago, which I don't really want to bring up because I think everybody's kind of done with that, except for Red Bull, of course. Anyway, as we go and look at Tomaselli now, then he makes his way now then towards Maggots and then into Beckett now then, as he'll soon go towards Chapel, and let's see what his second sector is going to be like. A 101.310. Of course, the lap times are going to be quicker than what they were in practice because, of course, lighter fuel loads. So we'll be seeing these guys push a little bit hard as well. And thanks to the new mistake rate system that we have in qualifying now, we could see the odd mistakes happening from a few drivers as well. It's very easy to make a mistake through here at Silverstone. That's why the fans love it. It's one of those good tracks. It's got a combination of everything, and very easy to make a mistake on as well. But now Tomaselli comes down the pit straight, across the line he goes, and it is a 127.219, which 479, which gets beaten straight away by Josie. Well, it was a 219. Gets beaten straight away by Willows. De Rosa then beats his teammate to go into second place. Here comes Chatfield across the line to go into third, getting in front of Tomaselli. Tomaselli not having the best of laps. Gal now goes to the top of the timing sheets. Here comes Mackenzie, who goes to second in front of Willows there. A good time there.
He actually had a
From
really
Mackenzie.
good first sector as well. So yeah.
So Mackenzie clearly translating some of that practice pace we saw a little bit earlier. Fideo went 7th, Catalan goes into 8th, here comes Felix Sontag, across the line he will go, and he slots himself into 9th behind Catalan. Maxim Titkov in the manor, across the line he will now go, and he slots himself into 10th. Franco Lopez now then in the Mercedes, the championship leader, makes his way down the pit straight. Can he try and get the top spot off of Miklos Gal? No, he can't. He goes into 4th behind Willows and Mackenzie. Roke, meanwhile, goes to 3rd in front of the pair of them. Roke having a good time there. Here comes Gomez, comes down the pit straight, across the line. He will go in the Alfa Romeo, and he slots into 12th. Here comes Lincoln Parner in the Williams. Across the line, he will now go, and he goes into 13th. Evan Byrne goes into 5th. Here comes Armar Carr, who's going to cross the line, and he goes fastest at the moment by 10th ahead of Miklos Gal. Here comes Roland Motrin across the line. He will go in the Racing Point, and he goes into 11th. David Kupok in the Toro Rosso across the line. He will go, slots to 13th. Franco Garber slots to 6th. Here comes Laura Chong. She goes fastest with a 125.9, a tenth quicker than Carr. And
It's Galba.
As now Fosbury goes into 20th there, not a great time for him. Martinez goes into 19th, and they are the first run done as Willows gets by there on Tomaselli. And as they now head into the pits. But at the moment, it is Chung currently fastest with Carr in second, and Gal rounding out the top three. Currently in the drop zone, we have Sontag, Gomez, Martinez, Campana, Fosbury, and Titkov. So what did you make of those first runs, Ra?
Yeah, pretty interesting. It's also just to point out Franco Galba has a wrong name. Galba. As well.
Galba.
Yeah, Franco Galba.
I say that by accident, or did somebody... I say that by accident, or did my
No, it's actually there.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
That was Yuri's mistake.
Oh, Franco Galba.
Yeah,
Well,
that
there's
will
an
be
issue
fixed
with
for
name.
Q2.
Galba's name got a typo error there.
I think this is the first typo I ever made in the performance file.
Well, you say that, but I would like to bring up the Indy 500 ones with Hento Synonome and it was the other one you made a mistake.
Yeah,
And I
but
think
that
you-
name's impossible to write.
You may have to learn it if Hento ever gets to the top class. But anyway, or even Thanos as well. Anyway, moving aside from that from that typo error that Yuri made there. Titkov now then is getting towed back into the garage, and as now Titkov wheels himself back into the garage now then as his mechanics get to work on his car now then, and we wait for the second set of runs to get underway. Now usually around about this point somebody gets left behind, I think. Who that will be, I'm not sure. Well, one person that we know isn't going to get left behind is Joseph Wills because his car is in the garage right now. It is spawned in the garage right now. Currently down in 6th position at the moment. His teammate Laura Chung currently fastest. And speaking of Willows, he's going out onto the track first, it looks like. So the home crowd trying to get behind him if he can. Obviously, Joseph Willows won here last season, of course. He'll be looking to try and get his 4th British Grand Prix win if he can this weekend here at Silverstone. The crowd, of course, will be roaring him on as best as they can. Willows now then going out of the pit lane now then as he flicks off the pit limiter. And Willows now then comes out of the pit lane and back out onto the track he will go. As Willows now then negotiates into the double left-hander. Out of the corner he goes now then before heading towards the Wellington Straight before he'll hear the fans cheer for him down at Lovefield. And I'm not trying to big myself up, guys, really. Promise. But anywho, as Willows now then makes his way around Lovefield. And the crowd will probably be roaring, cheering for him. Same with Amar Khan as well, who'll be looking to see if he can get some Florian Volker luck underneath him in the second half of the season and try and mount a fight back in the Drivers' Championship. As hello, Franco Lopez, who's just joined us in the chat. As Willows now then negotiates through Maggots and then into Beckett, and then he'll soon be approaching Chapel with just over 10 minutes to go. Be very interested to see who gets left behind, as there's still some pit activity going on in the pit lane. Who's going to get left behind out the guys who've still got a pit symbol next to their names. As Willows negotiates round Stowe Corner, as he'll soon be starting his second flying lap. Excuse me, as trying to clear my throat there. As Willows now then negotiates round Club Corners now then, heading on to the Hamilton Straight, as he will now cross the line to start his flying lap now then, as he makes his way through the first 2 turns on the racetrack, through turn 1, then into turn 2. Luckily, it doesn't look like there's going to be any traffic that's going to interfere with his lap there. The Renault comes out right behind him there. And it's either going to be Martinez or Fosbury that's going to get left behind, I think. And it is, who's going to get left behind of those two? It is Martinez. So Martinez not deciding to come out this time by. Currently down in 19, probably will come out a little bit later on. Let's see what Willows' first sector is like compared to Laura Chung. 2 tenths down on his teammate in the first sector. As Willows negotiates around Lovefield now then. And currently down on his personal best at this point in time. So far, it looked like generally good laps there so far from Mackenzie and Roke. As now Willows makes his way down the support pit straight, heading towards Copse Corner now then. Through Copse, round he goes now then. As he now makes his way towards Maggots and Beckett's. The amount of G's you pull through this corner is extremely very high indeed. Through the second part of Beckett's, through into Chapel now then. His second sector now then, 3 tenths down on his personal best. So Willow's currently not on an improvement in this session at this point in time. As he'll now make his way up towards Stowe Corner. Through Stowe Corner he goes now then, heading his way down towards Vale and then into Club Corner. Through into Vale, then into Club, and then through into the second part of Club before making his way down onto the Hamilton Straight. And Willows, is he going to find some time in the last sector? Nope, remains in 6th position as Byrne and Fosbury are about to start their laps. Here is Jay McKenzie, who's currently not on an improvement. Through the Club Corners he now goes now then, the 2-time champion making his way down the pit straight and across the line he will go, and he doesn't improve, remains in 4th position. Gabriel Gomez, he's on an improvement, crosses the line, and he goes up to 12th with that lap, getting in front of his former teammate Paulino Tomaselli. Niklas Gau comes across the line, no improvement for him. Kirishima De Rosa going to cross the line, no improvement. Franco Lopez crosses the line, goes up into 5th position, improvement for him. His car goes fastest by 900ths of a second, a 125.899. Tomaselli on an improvement, but loses time in the last sector, remains in 13th. George Rope, meanwhile, currently in 6th. Can he improve on his lap? And no, he can't, remains where he is. Laura Chung, can she get herself back to the top of the timing sheets? Nope, remains in 2nd. Roland Motrin doesn't improve. Looks like he may have got held up on that lap. Cupot doesn't improve, nor does Gamba, not Galba. Gamba, that's a typo error. As Chatfield crosses the line, no improvement for him. Sontag now then, who's currently in 18th position. The Williams driver crosses the line, no improvement. Titkov doesn't improve either. Looked like he got a little bit held up there by Felix Sontag. Matteo Catalan comes across the line, no improvement for him, as Vaderi goes up to 15th. Slightly improves there, but still probably in a little bit of danger from the guys who are in the drop zone, including Catalan, who's now in the drop zone, I should say. Toro Rosso's not doing well there. Not an improvement there from the guy that just did a lap, the driver that just did a lap there. Couldn't quite see who the name was there. I'm not sure if Ra caught the driver's name. As Evan Byrne, meanwhile, negotiates through Club Corner now then. See what Evan Byrne can do. Across the line goes the Irishman. Can he improve on his lap? No, he can't. Remains in P9. Both Renaults currently in the top 10. As Fosbury's on an improvement, across the line he goes. And he goes into 10th. Gets into the top 10. A good time there from Jared Fosbury. 10th and 12th so far for the two Haas drivers who in front of their home race. So clearly the British crowd lifting their spirits up a little bit. But at the moment in time, Carr currently fastest ahead of Chung and Gowan. Currently in the drop zone, we have both Toro Rossos of Kupok and Catalan, Sontag, Martinez, Campana, and Titkov. So that's that then. And so a bit of a concern there for Toro Rosso, you have to say, Ra.
Yeah, big concern. They're not far off safety, but yeah, it's still a concern for Toro Rosso.
It'll be interesting to see if they can get themselves out of the drop zone, but it would be a big shock if both the Toro Rossos, who have been known for being very good qualifiers this season, it must be said, throughout the course of 2019, get knocked out in the first qualifying session of the day. It would be a very big shock if that were to happen, of course. As Martinez will be coming out this time by. Obviously, he didn't come out last time by, but he will be coming out this time by. That's why we're viewing him as of right now. His car has spawned into the garage, and we just wait for him to get out onto the racetrack as his teammate Maxim Titkov just makes his way back into the pit lane. As Martinez having to wait for Titkov to get wheeled back in, although it looks like the ghosting on Grand Prix 4 is doing its magic there, although Rosetta did look a little bit hesitant to go out that time by, but eventually goes out. So he will now flick off the pit limiter to go out onto the racetrack and look to see if he can try and get a Manor in the top 16 in front of Mano's home Grand Prix. So he'll be hoping that is the case as he makes his way through the right and then into the double left-handers. So through the left-hander he goes as he'll now make his way through into Aintree before heading his way down the Wellington Straight. Of course, Mano scored 2 points this season, and we did mention this in the practice session, but of course their 2020 livery got revealed in the sign-up video this past Sunday, and it seemed to have got a positive reception. Let us know what you think of the new Mano livery in the stream chat if you want to. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you like how it looks like it's gonna try and give it a good send-off before Mano leaves the series at the end of next season? I think it does the job well anyway. Well, of course I'd say that because I'm the one who made the car. But anyway, as Martinez now then makes his way towards Maggott and then into Beckett. Lopez has just come out on the track. It will be a question to see which driver will get left behind this time by. As Martinez makes his way down the hangar straight with just over 4 minutes to go in this session as he'll now negotiate through Stowe Corner. I think these might be the last flying laps as well. We'll have to wait and see on that. These might be the last flying laps. We'll just have to wait and see, of course. Martinez now then through Vale, then into Club as he'll now make his way down the Hamilton Straight as he will soon be starting his lap. And now down the pit straight he goes as he starts his lap now then, as before he negotiates through the first two turns. Of course the frame rate is down a bit because of course that the wing there kind of takes some of the space up on Grand Prix 4, but it's not a major problem at all. Martinez now then through into the left-hander he goes on this arena section of the course that obviously was first built back in 2010, although the pit straight was first used in 2011 of course. Martinez now then down the Wellington Straight. Let's see what his first sector is like. Is he up on his personal best? No, he's not. He's 1/10 down on his personal best in the first sector. He needs to try and find some time somewhere in these next two sectors now then. Through Luffield he goes. And both Toro Rossos are now out on the track, and they need to because they're both in the drop zone at this point in time. Who out of Byrne and Fosbury is going to get left behind as we're soon going to be getting an answer because the pit lane is now empty. Let's see who it is. He's coming out on the track. Is it Byrne or is it Fosbury? And it's Fosbury that's coming out. So Byrne is actually staying out. He feels that he's done enough to get through into Q2. Martinez now then through Beckett, and then he'll go into Chapel, which is this little left-hander here, before making his way down the hangar straight. And he's still down on his personal best in the second sector. 3 tenths down on his personal best at the moment. Through in towards Stowe Corner we will now go. Looking it through the right-hander. Out of the corner we go as he makes his way down towards the left-hander. So through the left and then into the right we go. As Martinez now then makes his way Down the pit straight now, then, and across the line will go the Filipino. This might be his last lap. I think it will be his last lap, judging from how much time there's left. And Martinez doesn't improve, so it looks like he is going to be out. He remains in 20th position. I think that Williams was on a lap, wasn't it, Yuri? I'm not 100% sure. No, it's just started a lap. De Rosa, meanwhile, crosses the line and improves to go up into 11th. Still a few guys left to do a lap, as Gomez is currently impeding Chung at the moment, who finds herself in second place. Gomez is currently in 13th position, so he's so far in the top 16 threshold at the moment, but he'll be hoping he stays there for the remainder of it. And because of the Chung trying to get by, he doesn't improve. Willows is not improving at this point in time. It looks like he's probably going to remain in 7th position. Not the best of sessions for Joseph Willows. But anyway, Willows now crosses the line, and just to confirm it, yep, he doesn't improve. Franco Lopez, his rival in the championship, doesn't improve, as Fosby's about to start that. Catalan is on improvement, and he desperately needs to, because he is down in 18th position. He is improving on his current best, but will it be enough to get him out of the bottom 6? Catalan needs a good lap here to get the Toro Rosso into Q2 now then. Down the pit straight goes Matteo Catalan, and across the line goes the Italian, and he goes up to 13th. So that's that. So that's that for him there. Mackenzie doesn't improve. That pushes Videri into the drop zone, by the way. Kupok is back in the pits, I think, because he hasn't improved. Has he got a problem, actually? Because, unless, did he do it?
No, he lost the front wing. Yeah, it was a mistake.
Made a mistake. So David Kupok, in his attempts to get out of the drop zone, has made a mistake, and Kupok is going to be out here in Q1, and the mistake happened just in front because, in fact,
something else also happened as well. Maxim Titkov
made a mistake. He lost his front wing coming off the exit of Beckett's there, and Kupok caught the debris. So it means that both Titkov and Kupok will be out in Q1 as a result. So that's that then, really. So both Titkov and Kupok out because of damage to their front wing. They aren't going to get enough time to get back out. So frustration in both the Manor and the Toro Rosso camps there as a result. But it looks like Catalan has made it through then as a result, because we know that who was it? Martinez crossed the line. He didn't improve, and I believe Sontag was able to improve as well. There's the mistake again. He lost his front wing just there, and both the Racing Point and the McLaren there were lucky not to get the damage, but Kupok was not so fortunate there.
Yeah, and the worst part is both of them were on an improvement as well, so it wasn't good news for those two. Tomaselli could be in danger as well, because he lost out, because he had to slow down.
Could indeed. Here is Chatfield. He's already through anyway, but he's looking to see if he can try and improve on that lap. Round the final corner he goes now then as he makes his way onto the pit straight. Chatfield crosses the line and doesn't improve, remains in 12th. He might have done enough anyway, but we'll see. Gal crosses the line, no improvement, remains in 3rd. Gamba goes up to 6th, an improvement for him there, and his name will get corrected for Q2, guys, don't worry. As Carr now then makes his way through these section of corners, as he'll now negotiate through these section of corners. Around the final corner onto the pit straight. Can he improve on his current best time at the moment, which is a 1:25.8? And yes, he can, a 1:25.873, only by a little bit. Found some time in the last sector there. Campana doesn't improve. He is out. Motrin now then comes across the line and doesn't improve, remains in...
Federi knocks him out.
Goes up to 11th. In fact, Motrin gets knocked out by Federi as a result, so Motrin is out. So... it seems that Franco did get one of his predictions correct in that a Racing Point would be out, and it is Roland Motrin that's going to be out. Chung doesn't improve, remains in 2nd position. Here is Jared Fosbury. It looks like both Hassers have made it through into Q2, which is a good result for them. But let's see if Fosbury can further improve on his time now then as he makes his way towards the club corners now then. Fosbury down the Hamilton straight he will go, and across the line goes the Haas driver, and he does not improve that time by, as Tomaselli and Roke get into a little bit of a battle there as they go back into the pits. But Tomaselli lucky to just make it through there into Q2. It was a bit worrying for him there, but he has made it into Q2. But he does need to really get his foot down in that second session, that's for sure. But we do have our bottom 6 as a result, with Carr topping the session in the end of that. The bottom 6 who have been eliminated are, of course, Motrin, Kupok, Sontag, Martinez, Campana, and Titkov. So the biggest shock out of that, Motrin and Kupok as well, of course. Kupok probably unlucky because of the damage he got, prevented him from going through into Q2 there. So a lot of work to do there for the German. But anyway, we'll obviously go through that in a little bit once we get back into the menu screen, which we are doing now then. So top 3, Carr, Chung, and Gao, with the bottom 6, of course, watching a little bit earlier with... Jared Fosbury currently in 10th position. Joseph Willows only in 8th position after that session. But the bottom six, the six that have been knocked out in queue number 1, are as follows. I don't know what Yuri is doing at the moment. I was hoping he'd scroll down, but there we go. The bottom six consists of Roland Motrin, David Cupart, Felix Sontag, Rosetta Martinez, Lincoln Panna, and Maxim Titkov. So what did you make of that first session, Ray Hall?
Yeah, very interesting session, and also ones that some drivers will have to forget, like David Cupart, who lost out massively from that incident with Maxim Titkov. So yeah, Tomaselli lucky escape as well.
I just realised what what Yuri was doing there. Why he didn't scroll down? It was because he was actually putting the word Gamba above the word Galba. But that problem will obviously get solved during this little break that we've got at the moment. So just bear with us, guys, as we wait for Q2 to get underway and for Yuri to fix the problem with Franco Gamba's name there. But that's that then, really. So let us know, guys, what did you make of that first session and who you think is going to get knocked out in Q2, because that will be the next one. Who do you think the bottom six will be in that session? As I put up the tweet on Twitter once I learn how to correct my grammar, that is. And so just typing it in. So if I go briefly silent for a minute there, but checking something, and just quickly double checking something. Yeah, I was correct there. And guys, who you think will be knocked out in Q2 as we wait for Yuri to do what he needs to do, and as we reflect on the first session, which sees Roland Motrin and David Cupart being knocked out in Q1. Two big shocks there indeed, especially Motrin, who has had quite a good season this season, it has to be said. Ra.
Yeah.
You a bit surprised that he's down in 17th along with Cupart?
Yeah, indeed. And also, it would have been even more of a shock if Tomaselli was knocked out.
Yeah, it would have been indeed, but luckily he didn't, and that's that really. So we just wait for the next session to get underway, and so obviously on that session, Armakar topped both sessions, and top Q1 ahead of Laura Chung and Miklos Gao. Just checked a couple of predictions in the chat there. Dennis saying both Haas and Alfa Romeo, Catalan, a McLaren, and a Renault. Hang on a minute. Oh no, that does load up to 6. I had to check there. Franco Gamba says both Haas, both Alphas, a McLaren, and George. So they are the predictions there. And so that's that then, really. But anyway, we are now about to watch as Yuri is about to get ready for Q2. Of course, it is a dry session for Q2. So anyway, without further ado, let's get underway for that session. And so what are you expecting? Who do you think may get knocked out in this session, Raj? We wait for the loading screen to come up.
We don't know yet. It will be very tight. I do think a McLaren could get knocked out. Maybe, but yeah. It could possibly be a Haas that could get into Q3. Maybe one Haas getting knocked out and another one getting into Q3. We don't know yet. So anything can happen in Q2 since the gaps are very close.
Yep, that is for sure. As we look at Matteo Catalan, who of course is the only Toro Rosso in this session, only just able to get into Q2, of course, but his teammate wasn't so lucky thanks to getting caught up in Titkov's debris. So that's that. That put both he and Titkov out in Q1 as a result, with Cupart starting down in 18th position. And speaking of which, Catalan is actually going to be the first on track for Q2. So everybody, of course, will be going out for this 15-minute session. No excuses there, so they'll all be going out to try and get the first laps on the board for Q2. As Catalan turns off the pit limiter and makes his way onto the racetrack now, then out of the pit lane, as he will now make his way towards turn 3. So through into turn 3 he goes now then, as he'll now negotiate through turn 4. And then into turn 5 he will soon go. As he'll now go around the left-hander now, then heading his way down the Wellington Straight before making his way towards Brooklands. And then making his way into Luffield, where all the crowd will be cheering on all these drivers out there. And kind of like an arena bit, that bit is, to be honest with you, the amount of noise that comes out of those stands at Luffield and Woodcote. And as they now make their way down towards the first corner now then, through, not the first corner, the old first corner I should say, Copse Corner. So now through into Maggots and then into Beckett's we will now go now then. So through the first part of Beckett's, through the second part of Beckett's, and then into Chapel we will go before heading their way down towards the Hanger Straight. And Garber's name has been corrected. You can just about see there on the top left, his name has been corrected, so you don't need to worry about that. His name now has Gamber in it rather than Galber, although I do suspect that might be a meme for seasons to come in the OC. So anyway, as now Catalan negotiates his way through the left-hander now then, as he'll now come towards the final corner and onto the pit straight, he will now go then to start his first flying lap of Q2, as he'll now make his way towards the flat-out Abbey corners through the right, and then into the left-hander he will go before making his way towards turn 3, which I believe is called Shannon. Through into Shannon now then, before approaching, I believe this is Aintree, and then into Arena. I believe this corner was called at one point. I don't know if it's had a name change since then, but through Arena we go. Down the Wellington Straight before making your way down towards Brooklands. A very quick left-hander indeed. We see a lot of overtaking being done down Wellington over the season. That's probably going to be the same this season, and maybe some moves down the Hanger Straight as well. Through into Luffield we go now then, before making our way down towards the support pit straight after going around Woodcote. This might be another overtaking zone if you're lucky enough and have the grip to get by into Copse Corner. We'll have to wait and see on that tomorrow in the race. Through Copse we go. Now coming out the turn before making their way towards Maggots and Beckett. So through Maggots we go. Then into Beckett. And then soon they will be approaching Chapel now then. And let's see what Catalan's second sector is like. A 101.810. And just looking at everybody else's first sectors at this point in time. Mackenzie still showing quite a strong first sector at the moment there. Although Willows looks like he's may have found some form in the first sector after quite a tricky Q1 a little bit earlier on. Catalan now then, through Vale, then through into Club Corner we go now then. He'll now make his way down towards the Hamilton Straight, as Catalan now then is going to cross the line and does a 128, which soon gets beaten by Miklos Gal, who was actually behind him. Might have got a little bit of sliction of that, but looks like he may have got held up quite a lot as well at the same time. So maybe more time to find for Gal. But having said that, Chung goes into second behind him. So not a bad time there for Gal. Fosbury crosses the line, goes into third. Willows loses time, goes to third place there. So Mackenzie meanwhile goes past this with a 126.706. I wouldn't get your hopes up just yet for him. Byrne goes to fourth there. Gomez was sixth, but then dropped to seventh because of Byrne. Lopez, can he try and beat Mackenzie off the top now then, as the Mercedes is now going to cross the line? And no, he can't. He goes into second place with that time. Here comes Verderi in the Alfa Romeo. Across the line he will go, and he goes into seventh. Carr goes to sixth. Might have got held up there a bit by Verderi. As Rote, meanwhile, goes into fifth for Racing Point, as Chatfield is on a lap at this point in time. Tomaselli goes second. Wow. Good time there. Found some time after a struggle in Q1. Chatfield goes 14th there, as we now look at Franco Garma with the correct name this time. Can he try and knock Mackenzie off the top? Across the line he goes.
He can by 4 attempts.
Yep, by 4/10 of a second. And De Rosa crosses the line to go second. A good time there from De Rosa. Very good time indeed. So after that, a very shocking amount of lap time to carry out of that. Some of that might be down to traffic, but Gamba currently at the top. But second to fourth, you are three drivers that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah. And also, surprisingly, Joseph Willows is in 11th.
And in the drop zone, yeah, indeed. He needs to find some time in front of his own race. Car ain't that far off the drop zone either. He's down in 10th place, although we do suspect that Carr may have got held up there by Verderi, because he did have an Alfa Romeo right in front, so maybe more time to find for Carr. I don't know if Willows got slightly held up by the Haas in front. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, not a great time for Willows. He needs to find some time in the next session, otherwise he may find himself out in Q2 in front of his home fans, and that will not serve him well as he looks to put on a show in front of his adoring crowd. But anyway, we'll now look at Catalan, who's going to be wheeled back into the garage. And now in the pit lane, as he gets wheeled back into his garage now then. And so currently in the drop zone, we have Willows, Videri, Fosbury, Gomez, Catalan, and Chatfield at this point in time. And it'll be very interesting to see if anybody else can find some improvement. And meantime, De Rosa, who's in second place, doing a good job so far in the session. Both McLarens currently second and fourth at this point in time. Whether it will stay like that for the remainder of the session, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, the fastest that we've seen around here at Silverstone happened in Q1. It was a 1:25.8. So whether we'll see some guys get into that by the end of Q2, we'll have to wait and see. We should expect some improvements coming, especially from Willows and Carr. They both desperately need to improve. As Catalan, yet again, is going to be the first to go out on track for the second runs in Q2. And he'll soon flick off the pit limiter, as he'll be preparing to try and see if he can get himself into the top 10. So out on track he will now go now then, as Catalan now then negotiates through the right-hander, as he'll now make his way through into Aintree before making his way into the arena corner. Just over 8 minutes to go now then here in Q2, as Catalan makes his way down the Wellington Straight before making his way towards Brooklands. And then he will soon be approaching Luffield very soon, flicking it around this long swooping right-hander. Luckily for you guys, unlike in real life, we don't have the sprint race for this because, let's be honest, I don't think anybody is very keen on the sprint race. I think some people are split on it, but I'm not keen on it, to be honest with you. But luckily, we don't have to worry about that in the OC. This qualifying session actually counts. So, anyway, as Catalan now then goes through Maggots and then through Beckett's, as they'll now negotiate through into Chapel, as they'll now go down the hanger straight before Catalan will approach Stowe Corner. Everybody trying to get out onto the track. Whether Catalan will get held up by anybody as he will soon approach the pit straight, we'll have to wait and see if Catalan gets held up. He doesn't want to be held up as well because he wants to see if he can get that Toro Rosso into the top 10. He's the only Toro Rosso in the session, of course, because Q-Pop got knocked out in Q1 after getting damage from Titkov's damaged front wing, and that cost him a chance of getting into Q2 because he was on improvement, and so was Titkov as well, which is just the irony in that. So Catalan comes out of turn 2. Luckily, that Red Bull in front is a bit too far away from him, so it looks like Catalan will not get held up on this lap, and the Mercedes behind just came out onto the racetrack. De Rosa is the only one left to come out onto the racetrack, but he's now come out, so all 16 cars are now out onto the racetrack. Let's see what Catalan's first sector is going to be like. His first sector, and he's 2 tenths off of Garber, but he's 1 tenth up on his personal best in the first sector. So he is improving, and it looks like we could be seeing a series of improvements this time by. Remember yesterday in the GP2 qualifying session, we saw a series of improvements throughout the grid in every lap. Maybe we could be in for something similar here for the top class. We'll have to wait and see. As Catalan now then makes his way towards Copse Corner now then. Through Copse he goes now then, using a bit of the curb on the exit there then as he makes his way towards Maggots and Beckett's. The G's they're pulling around here very high indeed. So through the Beckett's complex we go as they now make their way towards Chapel. Let's see what Catalan's second sector is like. And he's 7 tenths down on Garber, but again 3 tenths up on his personal best in the second sector there. So I'm not sure if that's going to be enough to get himself into the top 10. We'll have to wait and see. As he goes through Stowe now then, heading down towards Vale and then into Club Corner, flicking it through the left. Then into the double right-hander he goes. Let's see, can Catalan get his Toro Rosso into the top 10 now as he makes his way down the pitch straight and across the line goes Matteo Catalan. This is going to be an improvement, and it is an improvement, but only up to 12th, not quite a top 10 there then. Miklos Gau crosses the line, doesn't improve, remains in 6th position. Here's Lopez now then on an improvement, and he's 2 tenths down on Garber, but continuing to improve at this point in time. 2 tenths up on his personal best now then, as Lopez now negotiates through Stowe Corner now then, as he'll now make his way down towards Vale and Club. So through the Vale, the left-hander of Vale, through the double right-hander at Club. Let's see what the championship leader can do now then. Lopez, down the pitch straight he goes, and across the line goes Franco Lopez, and he goes up to 3rd, so an improvement there then for him. Fosbury now then, down the pitch straight. Across the line he will now go, goes up to 14th, still not in the top 10. Willow's being held up, but still goes up to 8th. Tomaselli didn't improve and remains in 5th position, but Willow's crucially in the top 10. Chung, meanwhile, is on improving. Across the line she goes, and she goes up to 2nd. A good time from her there. Byrne, across the line, he will now go. He doesn't improve and remains in 10th. Chatfield is on improvement. He goes only up to 14th, still not in the top 10. Mackenzie doesn't improve, remains in 5th position. Gomez doesn't improve, remains in 16th position. We now look at George Rowe, currently in 9th position, but at the moment not looking like he's on the improvement. He's got Miklos Gal behind him at this point in time as he looks to improve on his 7th place. Sorry, that's Franco Gamba. I do apologise. Gal's already done a lap. Roke now then coming out of the final corner. Now then we go. Roke onto the pit straight and across the line he goes. Doesn't improve. Gamba doesn't improve either. Remains on a 126.2. Here is De Rosa still in second place.
Car goes top.
Past this. Car with a 126.005. So Car now goes to the top of the timing sheet. As De Rosa now then comes across the line. Can he improve? No, he can't. Remains in P4. Anybody else on a lap? It doesn't look like it. The second run's done. Now, whether anybody can get a third run in, we'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, it is Carr at the top of the timing sheets with Gamba in 2nd and Chung in 3rd. And the bottom 6 now consists of Byrne, Catalan, Videri, Chatfield, Fosbury, and Gomez. So what did you make of those second runs, Ra?
It's still getting interesting. Willow still ain't able to find more time. He's still not safe because the gap between 9th to 11th is still less than a 10th. So, yeah, it's very close.
Willows did get held up by Tomaselli on that lap. Let's not forget about that. So maybe there is still more time to find for him. But you are right. It all really depends really on which guys are going to be out to do a final run. Looks like Catalan might be able to. But will anybody else join him? That is the question, as we have just over 3 minutes to go in this session. There's still cars trying to make their way back into pit lane. So whether they'll have time to do one more flying lap, we'll have to wait and see. As people start piling back into the pit lane now, then with just over 3 minutes to go in this session, as a Red Bull is actually coming out on the track into the Catalan, and it's Miklos Gal, so he's going out for one more flying lap, as he will soon be flicking off the pit limiter, which he does now. So Gal flicks off the pit limiter, goes up the hill, and he'll be starting his final flying lap very soon. He may feel like he needs to improve as well because he's only down in 8th position. And if any of the 3 in the drop zone come out onto the racetrack and start putting in improvements, he may find himself out of qualifying as well. And not been the best of session so far for Gal, but he'll be looking to see if he can improve on that final flying lap. And at the moment, Gal's the only one on the track. Let's see if anybody else will join him with just 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Let's have a look. Gal's still the only one at the moment with the pit indicator off on the graphic on the left. Let's see if anybody else is going to join him. Yes, Catalan has come out onto the racetrack as we expected. Anybody else going to join him? Let's have a look as Gal goes around Cop's corner, as he'll soon be negotiating Maggots and then into Beckett's, which he does now. Only 2 cars have gone out onto the racetrack at this point in time. Now another one has, in the form of Laura Chung. So there's 3 cars now on the track. Lopez has gone out. That's 4 cars now. Anybody else going to join them? Anybody in the bottom 6? Yes, Videri has gone out onto the track, so he'll get one more chance to try and get himself in the top 10. That could be trouble for Joseph Willows unless he gets out on the track very soon. And so through the left-hander we go. And let's see if anybody else goes out. Willows is on the track, so he's going to get one more lap in. And I think that's that. They're the only guys that are going to get a lap. Chung, Lopez, Gal, Willows, Catalan, Videri. I don't think Chatfield came out in time, so I think he's going to run out. So I think Chatfield is going to be out. But Byrne, Fosbury and Gomez, I think those 3 are safe to say are out along with Chatfield. We'll have to wait and see on that. But Gal has just started his lap as he'll now make his way through Aintree and then into the arena corner. Let's see what his first sector is like compared to Armar Carr and to himself, of course. Keep an eye on the death panel on the top there. And let's see what Gal's first sector is like. And he's 1/10 up on his personal best and 1/10 down on former teammate Armar Carr. Of course, Gal and Carr were teammates for 2 years at Red Bull from 2016 to 2017. So that's that then. As Gal now then through Woodcut he goes before going towards Cop's corner. As the seconds tick by on the timer at the top there. Through into Cop's corner now then goes 2009 champion. As they'll now negotiate his way towards Maggots and Beckett. So through Maggots he goes now then. Now into Beckett's. The second part of Beckett's now then. And then into Chapel before heading your way down the hanger straight. Let's see what his second sector is like. Still 1/10 up on his personal best with 4/10 down on car in the second sector, so he is on improvement, but where he'll end up, we'll have to wait and see. I don't think he's going to get himself in the top 4, to be honest with you, but he could be in the top 6. We'll have to wait and see. Gal now then approaches Vale and Club for the final time now then of this session, that is, through the final 2 turns on the track. Through the final corner and onto the pit straight now then comes Miklos Gal. The checkered flag is now out. That guy in front just made it in time. And Gal actually goes up to 5th, so he exceeded my expectations there. These 5 guys, 6 guys I should say, won't be able to get a lap in time. Catalan is on a lap. Let's see what his second sector is like. He's 200s up in the second sector, but I don't think that's going to be enough. He needs to find a lot of time in the last sector if he's going to get himself into the top 10. Round Stowe corner we go now then. Is Matteo Catalan as he makes his way down towards Vale and then into Club. He'll soon go through Vale and into Club corner now then. The double right-hander. What can Matteo Catalan do? He needs to find a lot of time in the last sector if he's going to advance into Q3. Matteo Catalan, across the line he goes. What can he do? And he doesn't improve. Catalan is out. He remains in 12th position. Laura Chong is on improvement at the moment. Let's see where she could end up. Hopefully that McLaren in front doesn't get in the way. Chong now then making her way down the pit straight. And across the line she will now go. Can she get quicker than Carr? No, she can't. She goes up to 2nd with that time. Franco Lopez is on improvement. Can he try and beat Carr? Across the line goes the championship leader. And he goes up to only 6th. That time by. Andre Videri is on improvement. He can get himself in the top 10. Let's see what he can do. Videri, last chance for him. Across the line he goes. Down the Hamilton straight. And he doesn't improve, loses time. He is out. He remains in 13th. Willows is on improvement. Let's see if he can give us some of the time that he was trying to demonstrate a little bit earlier before getting a little bit held up. Willows now then, down the pit straight and across the line. He will go and he goes up to 2nd. That's more like it for Willows. Up into 2nd place he goes. He is safe. Definitely now. He's up into 2nd place. Chatfield across the line. He did make it in time, but he's not going to be able to improve. He remains in 14th. Fosbury, last chance for him. Across the line he goes and he goes up only to 13th. He is out. So we do now have our bottom 6 then. So Carr tops the session from Willows in 2nd. And we will go through the bottom 6 when we get back onto the menu screen, which we do. Carr 1st, Willows 2nd and Chung in 3rd. And the bottom 6 consisting of Evan Byrne, Matteo Catalan, Jared Fosbury, Andre Videri, Chris Chatfield and Gabriel Gomez. So what did you make of that session, Ray Hall?
Yeah, pretty interesting session. Yeah, pretty close as well for Willows, but he still made it into Q3. So yeah.
Yeah, that's that. That's important, I think. I don't think it is your first, to be honest, George. I think you have made it to Q3 before, but I'm not 100% sure. I think you've been in a Q3 session before. I'm pretty sure Franco Gamba can clarify that because he's the one that usually keeps an eye on the qualifying. But anyway, I'm trying to... So whilst we wait, guys, let us know your predictions for who you think is going to get pole and who you think the rest of the top 10 is going to look like. That's going to be the next question mark, I think, as I try to get a picture of Amar Khan if I can, as that then really, as he ended up topping another session. So guys, let us know who you think will top Q3 and who you think will take pole position for tomorrow's British Grand Prix, and what you think the remainder of the top 10 is going to look like. Franco Gamba saying Amar Khan is going to get pole position. That's a very safe bet, given that he topped the first 2 qualifying sessions. Some people saying me for pole position. 2 people there. Dennis saying got a Car pole position. And so a bit split there between Car and Willows, the 2 home favourites here at Silverstone. So as I'm trying to get an onboard view of Amar Khan if I can, whilst we wait for Q3 to get underway. So bear a moment. Sorry if I go silent for a little bit. And so a very interesting session, it must be said. For a while it did look like Joseph Willows was under pressure to get knocked out there, but he finally was able to find some pace in the end and make his way into queue number 3 in the end, showing the pace that we know he is capable of delivering. As that's that. As YouTube's deciding to have a bit of a moment for me there. George Roach saying car pole position. Seems a lot of people going for that at the moment. As I try to get the results up again. I do apologise, guys. My YouTube decided to play up with me there for just a minute. I haven't been able to get it up on the Twitter yet. As we wait for Yuri to sort out what he needs to sort out, ready in time for Q3. IVM, we go silent for a brief moment, guys. Just typing up for Twitter. As we now have the stream back up on for us, and it is a dry session, so that 1% of rain that was predicted for that session is not going to come. But anyway, we might as well get Q3 underway. So who do you think is going to get pole, Rahul?
I'm probably going to go for my car.
You're going to go with Amar Khan. I think it's. I'm also going to go with Amar Khan as well, to be honest with you. Watches jinx him now, but anyway. But yeah, I'm going to go with Amar Khan for pole position. I think I'm going to go with the majority on this one because he has topped both Q1 and Q2 in this session. Can he do the hat trick and top all 3 qualifying sessions? We will have to wait and see on that. So I've now finally been able to put the tweet up. So we are now in the garages, raring to go for qualifying, and George Rote looks like he's going to be the first to come out onto the racetrack then for Racing Point. George Rote making his way into Q3, and as now Rote comes out onto the track. If you sign up for a test roll for the 2020 season, Jafari, there is a slight chance you might, but you have to wait and see. You can't be a test driver this season unless somebody decides to pull out for whatever reason or gets promoted to being a main driver because somebody in this series pulls out. But that's the only time you can do. But anyway, George Roke is now out onto the racetrack. And he now makes his way through into Brooklyn. So far, the only car on the track at this point in time, but we are seeing some pit activity now. Lopez second on the track now then. Then it is followed by Amar Khan, probably the favourite to probably get pole. Mackenzie is now out on track, looking to try and get a good qualifying session under his belt. Tomaselli then goes out on the track as well. Who else is going to be sixth on track? DeRosa's sixth on the road. Who's going to be seventh on the road as we wait for somebody else to go out onto the track. It is Franco Gamba who's seventh on the track. Eighth on the track, who's it going to be? It's going to be either a Ferrari or a Red Bull. We know that for a fact because there's 7 cars out on track. Gal is next on the track, so it's going to be then the 2 Ferraris that are going to be out last. Is it going to be Chung or Willows that's going to come out first? It's Willows that comes out first, so then it'll be Chung who will be 10th on the track. So we now look at George Rote now, then he's going down towards Vale, and then into Club Corner he will now go as Rote prepares himself to start his first flying lap of Q3, looking to see if he can get a good qualifying session under his belt for Racing Point. His teammate starting all the way down in 17th for tomorrow, so he's the only Racing Point who can probably get a good result out of qualifying and hoping to do well in front of his adoring fans here at Silverstone. The crowd will be rooting him on. Obviously, George Roke, a former British Grand Prix winner as well, having won the race back in 2008 with BMW Sauber, so he obviously knows how to win here. I think it's less likely that we're going to see him winning this weekend, if we're being completely honest with you, unless a miracle happens for Racing Point, but he'll be looking to get a good result if he can, because it has been a shaky season for George Roke, I must say. 25.583 for Roke in the first sector there, as he'll now negotiate his way through Lovefield Corner now then. As he'll now negotiate towards Woodcote now then. Through into Woodcote he goes. The crowd probably cheering him on in the grandstands there right next to him as he now makes his way down the old pit straight before heading towards Copse Corner, the very quick Copse Corner. Obviously where Verstappen and Hamilton had their clash in real life this season. And now through into Maggots we go now then. And then into Beckett. So through the left and then into the right-hander before making your way towards Chapel before then heading down the Hanger Straight. A 101.071 for the second sector there for George Roke as he will now approach Stowe Corner now then, flicking the car in through the right-hander. Now making his way towards where the pit entrance is, which is there. Now down into Vale and then into the double right-hander of Club where more fans will be cheering him on at this point of the track. Very easy to wheel spin out the exit here, but no mistakes so far for George on this lap. He comes down the pit straight and Roke is going to cross the line, and it's a 1:26.803, a decent time there for George Roke. As meantime, Lopez looks like he's down on Roke. He looks like he may have made a mistake. Let's have a look if he can find it. Was it here that he made a mistake? Was it here through into Beckett? And no, it looks like he might have made a mistake a little bit earlier on in the lap. Yes, yeah. There, look. Just at Brooklands, just at the exit there, look. So let's see. Was it a lock-up for Lopez? He goes through into this left-hander now then. And no, he got a bit of oversteer on the exit there, and very lucky not to spin the car there. But he did take a trip onto the grass there, and that has cost the championship leader time. So we've seen a mistake there from Franco Lopez there on his first final lap, and looks like he's going to be slower than George Roque for now after these first laps of Q3. As you just see a slow move there of him riding over the bumps there on the exit of Brooklands. Not a good first lap there for the championship leader. His teammate is up on Roque, but only by 16 thousandths of a second. So Roque with a decent time there to start off with. As now we ride on board with Franco Lopez to see what sort of lap time it's going to be then after that mistake that he made through into Vale, then through the double right-hander of Club. And let's see what Lopez can do there then as he makes his way down the Hamilton straight and across the line, and he goes into second place there, 1.7 seconds off. Carr second. He loses time in the last sector. Roque's still top of the moment. Mackenzie crosses the line, slots to third in front of Lopez as expected. Here comes Paulino Tomaselli. Across the line he will go, and he only goes to fourth that time by behind Mackenzie. De Rosa crosses the line, and he goes into fourth. Franco Gamba in the Red Bull. Let's see what he can do. Can he try and beat his former teammate to the top? Across the line goes the Italian. Yes, he can.
Half a second.
Yep, by 5 tenths of a second ahead of Roque. Here is his teammate, Miklos Gau. Can he try and top his teammate now then? Out of the final turn then goes Miklos Gau. Across the line goes the 2009 champion. What can he do? And he goes into second. 5 tenths off of Gamba. Here comes Joseph Willows. Can he try and beat Gamba off the top? The home crowd favourite crosses the line and he goes fastest by
just about
of a second. What about his teammate, Laura Chung? Chung now then comes across the line and she goes only 6th with that time. So after those first runs, it is Willows at the top with Gamba in second and Gal in third position. But so far, a brilliant first lap for George Roque.
Yeah, indeed. An absolute brilliant lap from George Roque, and also a big mistake by Franco Lopez. Finds himself in 10th. Let's see what he can do in the second run.
Indeed, Lopez could still provide an upset at the top of the timing screen. Of course, Lopez took pole last time out in Austria. He'll be looking to see if he can make it 2 poles in a row here at Silverstone. Whether he can or not, and whether he's able to correct his lap in the second run after the mistake he made on the first lap, we'll have to wait and see as the Racing Point mechanics wheel George Roque back into his garage there. So he wheels himself back into the garage now then. And Roque now then running back through the garage there then. And so Roque now then, he's now going to mechanics lift it up as they get himself set for the second run in just a little bit. But at the moment, the British fans currently happy to see their man Joseph Willows 400ths quicker than Franco Gamba at this point in time. Very close though between the top two, you have to say, Ray Hall.
Yeah, indeed. No, so the big surprises are Carr and Chung as well. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that. Tomaselli in ninth, currently being outpaced by De Rosa at this point in time. Obviously, De Rosa was able to outpace Tomaselli, I think, in Paul Ricard 2 races ago, so it's not unfamiliar. But Tomaselli looking to see if he can try and outqualify his teammate again, or whether De Rosa can actually outqualify him for, I think, only the second time this season. Maybe the third. No, in fact, it'll be the third time this season because he outqualified him in Australia. Might be more than that. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, Roque now then. Now then, preparing himself for his next lap. Whether he'll be the first to go out for the second runs, we'll have to wait and see, unless somebody else goes out before him. With just over 8.5 minutes to go here in Q3, and somebody else will go out first, and it's Franco Lopez. He looks like he wants to get some clear track in front of him to see if he can try and top the session and improve on the mistake he made on his first lap. So, Did I make an innuendo joke there by accident? I do apologise. That wasn't intentional. I do apologise. Anyway, as Lopez now then comes out onto the racetrack as he now makes his way down the Wellington Straight. As now he will approach Brooklands now then, flicking it through the left-hander. He will now negotiate through Luffield, the long swooping right-hander. He will now make his way down the old pit straight through into Woodcote. He will now go. And by the way, guys, I've had it on for the entire race, but if you can hear any fan blowing in the background, I do apologise. I've got a fan on in the background because Although it has been raining where I've been living today, it's still quite humid in my room. Shows the British summer for you, I guess. But anyway, Lopez now negotiates through Beckett and then Chappell, as he'll soon be preparing for the second flying lap. Gal will be the last one to come out onto the track for the second runs. He's just waiting a bit at this point in time as Lopez makes his way through Stowe Corner now, then before making his way down towards Vale and Club. So through to Vale, into the double right-hander of Club. And let's see what Franco Lopez can do. I don't know why I said George Rope, probably because he came out first last time by. But anyway, Franco Lopez then through the first two corners on the racetrack, flat out as he go. Is Gal going to be there on the exit? No, he isn't. So Lopez gets a clear run of track in front of him. As now into turn 4 we go now then, before approaching turn number 5. Let's see what his first sector is like compared to Joseph Willows, his main rival so far in the Drivers' Championship. Lopez, let's see what his first sector is like, and he is 700s off his rival in the first sector, so he could still gain that back in the last two sectors. We'll have to wait and see. But already making an improvement even in the first sector as well, which didn't have a mistake. It was the second sector where the mistake actually happened for Franco Lopez. So still able to gain time even from his first lap. So a bit more to come from the Argentine. Lopez now then approaching Cops Corner now then, nearly flat out as they go through there, as they'll now negotiate through into Maggots and Beckett's now then. So through the Maggots complex and then into the Beckett's complex. Lots of G's the drivers are pulling through these section of corners, as I've said a few times during these two streams. Lopez, let's see what his second set is like. 1/10 down on Willows, but obviously 1.9 seconds quicker than his personal best, because that was obviously where he made the mistake. Going up towards Stowe Corner now then. Right next to it is where the Stowe circuit is. For Silverstone, heading the way now then down towards Vale and then into the double right-hander of Club Corner. Through the right we go now then, and then into the final corner comes the championship leader. Let's see what Lopez can do. Where can he put his Mercedes? Lopez, across the line he goes, and he goes into third behind Garber. So 2-3 for the Francos at this point in time. Here's Jay McKenzie, who's on the improving. He's down in 8th. Can he get himself potentially into the top 5 if he can? Considering what George Roke did, it could be possible. Well, no, he can't, but he does improve to go up into 7th position. Here's George Roke. He's not on an improvement at the moment, so it doesn't look like at the moment, unless he pulls something off in the last sector, it looks like he's going to remain in 5th position. Carr, meanwhile, is improving, but he's currently down still on Willows, but he is improving on his personal best. Roke now then. Round the final corner comes the British driver. Roke is going to cross the line. He doesn't improve, remains in 5th. Carr, meanwhile, goes up to 4th, so pushes Roke down to 6th. Garber doesn't improve, remains in 2nd. Here comes Willows. Can he improve in his pole time? No, he can't, by 1.1 seconds. Chung, meanwhile, not on an improvement, but can she find time in the last sector? She did get held up, remember. She does, but only up into 7th position. Paolino Tomaselli is on the improvement. He's down in 10th. What can the Italian do? Tomaselli crosses the line and goes only up to 9th to get in front of his teammate. Speaking of which, De Rosa comes across the line. Can he get back in front of his teammate? Yes, he can. He goes up to 8th, so pushes McKenzie down to 9th position. So it was only brief there for Tomaselli, as we now look at Gal, who's not improving on his current best at this point in time. Currently finding himself down in 5th position. Now Gal will negotiate Vale and then the double right-hander of Club. So through the left-hander and then into the double right-hander he goes. As now Gal negotiates into the final corner. Onto the pit straight now then. He will go and he does not improve. Remains in 5th position. These are the second laps done. Whether some will be able to get one more flying lap in, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe Lopez. We'll have to wait and see, of course. The one last chance to see if he can try and snatch pole off of Joseph Willows and spoil the celebration for the home crowd. We'll have to wait and see. As Jay McKenzie makes his way back into pit lane. As the mechanics will then wheel his Renault back into the garage. So now McKenzie being wheeled back into the pit lane, into his garage now. Then whether he'll get one more flying lap in before the session comes to a close, we will have to wait and see. As Rogue comes back into pit lane now then for Racing Point, as he now picks his car around, and the mechanics will start wheeling back into the garage. And so Roke currently in 6th, looking good for a good qualifying session here in front of his home fans. Probably a much needed qualifying session if Roke is able to keep up this position at this point in time, with just under 3.25 minutes to go in this qualifying session. That's the Racing Point mechanics wheel his car back into the garage. And as the McLarens are now back into their pit box. And so that's that really. As hello Rick, who's just joined us in the chat there. Hello Rick Yan. As Gal now comes back into the pit lane. Don't know if he's going to have enough time to do one more flying lap a lot, so fifth might be the best that the Hungarian can manage. As the McLaren mechanics wheel De Rosa back into his garage, and I know that's De Rosa because it's the Francois Sever helmet that he is carrying. Paulino Tomasari carrying a Nick Heifeld helmet. So anyway, Roke getting himself ready to go back out onto the racetrack. Will he be the first this time by, or will it still be Franco Lopez? We'll have to wait and see. It might still be Lopez. We will see, of course, as the timer ticks away. And so far, no movement in pit lane. And as I say that, Lopez has now come out onto the track, and he will get one more lap in. So he could be the only one that could spoil Josie Willows' pole here at Silverstone. We will have to wait and see, unless somebody else can get out on the track as well. Lopez, on the track he goes. He'll get one more flying lap in before the session comes to a close. So as he now makes his way towards the third turn, and he'll now negotiate through turns 4 and 5 very soon. Anybody else going to join him on the racetrack? As now he will go through the left-hander. And yes, Mackenzie's gone out onto the track. He wants to see if he can improve on his 9th place. So Mackenzie and Lopez are out on the track. Anybody else going to join him? Gamba also joins him, so he could spoil Willows' pole time. Gamba's still yet to take his first ever pole position, let's not forget.
Yeah.
This could be his chance. Chung's out on track. She could spoil it. Roke might have just made it. We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, we might have 4 or 5 drivers doing a lap this time, which will be Willows, Gamba, Lopez, maybe Roke, and Chung as well, and also Mackenzie. So either 5 or 6, I should say. So apologies there. As no, in fact, Willows didn't come out in time, did he? So it'd just be Gamba, Lopez, maybe Roke, Chung, and Mackenzie. So Lopez now then comes down the hangar straight. He prepares himself to start his final flying lap, as he now negotiates for the right-hander. Hello, Flo, by the way. And so now coming towards the left and then into the right-hander. There's still 4 more days left, Flo, so I wouldn't worry. The sign-ups close on a Saturday this time rather than a Friday, so they've got plenty of time. And we will keep reminding them anyway tomorrow in the during the stream chat tomorrow during the race anyway, because I know that not everybody is in the stream chat today. Usually the majority of the viewing audience usually turns up in the race. So anyway, Lopez has started his final flying lap now then, as he negotiates through the left-hander now then before heading his way towards turn number 5. Let's see what his first sector is like compared to Joseph Willows now then. Lopez, let's have a look then as he approaches the end of the first sector. What's it going to look like? And he's 2 tenths down on Willows. He's 1 tenth down on his personal best, so he needs to find some time in the last 2 sectors if he wants to threaten Joseph Willows for pole position. But we'll have to wait on that. Checkered flag is now out. That is the end of Q3. Whether Roke made it just in time, I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, we'll obviously could have a look in just a little bit to see whether Roke made it just in time to do one more flying lap. Meanwhile, Lopez now then makes his way towards Maggott, and then into Beckett's he will now go through the left-hander. And let's see what his second sector is like now then. He currently finds himself in 3rd position, and he's 6 tenths down on Willows in the second sector, and he's 5 tenths down on his personal best in the second sector as well. So it looks like Lopez is not going to improve, but we'll just wait and see anyway, unless he performs some kind of miracle in the last sector, which I highly doubt it. Down towards Vale we go now then. Through the left-hander we go, and then into the double right-hander at Club. We now come towards the final couple of corners on the racetrack now then, as he makes his way down the pit straight, and across the line goes Franco Lopez, and he doesn't improve. He remains in 3rd position. Mackenzie is on improving. He could improve on that 9th position. Let's see what the 2-time champion can do. Jay Mackenzie down the pit straight and across the line goes the 2-time world champion, and he doesn't improve. Loses time in the last sector. Gamba is on improvement, but is it going to be enough to beat Joseph Willows? Yes, he can! By 400th of a second, but can Willows, who was out on a lap, can he find some time? He wasn't able to improve. Gamba across the line. Willows across the line. No, he can't improve. Chung goes up to 4th position. What about anyone else? Did Willows lose some time perhaps? Because he was a second off that time by. And he made a mistake into Cops. No, he made a mistake into Cops. He had a wheel deep. Went wide there, and Willows has lost a chance to possibly try and get the pole back off of Gamba, but we need to wait and see. There's still a couple of others still yet to do a lap. Chung went up to 4th, Roke crosses the line, remains where he is, and I think that's it. So for the first ever time in his top class career, Franco Gamba takes his first ever pole position. What a redemption for him indeed. The Italian has done it on right at the death. Franco Gamba on pole position for tomorrow's British Grand Prix.
Yeah, absolute scenes as well. Apologies, Evan. Oh man.
Just like in the Euros, the Italians beat the British indeed. Well, we're now going to stay silent for the pole lap. Here is how he got pole. And that is how Franco Gamba took his first ever pole position. A brilliant lap from the Italians indeed. And the British fans will be a tad bit disappointed with that, just like they were in the Euros, unfortunately. But anyway, a brilliant lap from Franco Gamba. And maybe this could be a turning point for him in the Drivers' Championship. But anyway, let's have a look at the full top 10 then before we leave. It's Franco Gamba on pole position for the first ever time with Joseph Willows in second. Championship leader Franco Lopez third with Laura Chung in fourth. Armar Khan in fifth. Miklos Gow in sixth with George Roke, his best qualifying of the season, in seventh. With Kirishima DeRosa in eighth. Jay McKenzie in ninth. And rounding out the top 10 is Paolino Tomaselli. So what did you make of that session overall, Rahul? Probably the best we've had so far.
Yeah, indeed. One of the best ever so far. And Franco Gamba, again, his first ever pole position in the top class. Unbelievable for him. He deserves it, actually, after some bad luck in the past. And, yeah, coming to Red Bull, winning in his debut and getting pole position at Silverstone. So, yeah.
Indeed. Will this be a turning point for the Italian tomorrow? We will have to wait and see. Well, we aren't obviously commentating tomorrow because, of course, we let George do that for the highlights. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this very exciting qualifying session here at Silverstone. We're not done with live streams because coming up later on tonight at 7 p.m. BST, we will have the GP2 race here at Silverstone, which sees Thomas Anderson on pole position. Can he make it 2 wins in a row? That will be the question. But until then, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I've been JW97. He's been Rahul Patel. And we will see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. BST for the 52-lap British Grand Prix. Until then, take care.